right. Good morning and welcome back to day two of the Mountain Summit virtual Carry the Fire Forward event. What a powerful day one we had yesterday with an amazing lineup of speakers, and we are going to match the same energy today. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to David for bringing us all together because the way that you have made an impact massively on the communities around you, the communities that you're a part of, including every new face that we see at every summit, every impactful and powerful moment that we have, and the connections that are being made, that all really is because of you. And so I just want to take a minute to give David the first flowers this morning and say good morning to you. Thank you, friend. And we are all blessed to be here because of you. A reminder, really quick, some housekeeping. Make sure that you are also sharing the live because sharing is caring, right? Let your friends know what we're doing today. There are so many people out there that could use this or need this or be a part of this community, and it could really service them, as well as making sure that you are dropping love in the comments all day long. Drop that green and black for the summit. Also, make sure that you are giving each speaker their flowers on both YouTube and on Facebook. Also, make sure that you are following, liking, and subscribing to our YouTube channel because there's going to be great content that's going to be continued to be pushed out there as well. So without further ado, I want to get started this morning. We have another lineup of great speakers. Today, though, we brought the morning glory, right? We're starting the day off with a powerhouse of a speaker, a powerhouse of a light just in the world. And have you ever met somebody that just makes you want to be a better person, right? And platonically, right? Not just romantically, but platonically, right? Well, this woman is the light that shines through every window, the glory in every single morning. And she has been through some stuff that makes you say, dang, if she's that good, I can be that good too. Right. And so she is somebody that I have had the blessing, and it is a blessing to get to know over the last year and a half. She has moved my life, and I cannot wait to watch her move yours. So, international speaker, author, TV host, and trauma coach, a woman on a mission to empower healing and loving the life you live, regardless of the original story you come from. Please welcome Martha Tripp.
Hello, y'all. Ashley, so usually David makes me squirm and makes me like flustered, but you just hearing that from you, wow, that was very heartfelt and I receive all of it. But it also feels like a really heavy burden to carry all of this intention, right? But that's what I was born to do. And as we begin to talk about carrying the fire, I just want to first say thank you to David for once again creating an amazing platform for us to be able to share our testimony, share our story, share our hearts. This is what you're doing is really, really important. And I just wanted to say thank you. So I want to begin with a question this morning. What does it mean to carry the fire forward? What do you do with the fire that nearly destroyed you? Do you spend your life trying to extinguish it? Do you hide away from it where no one sees the scars you've left behind? Or do you lean into it? Do you learn to carry it forward, to allow it to illuminate the path, not only for yourself, but for others who are still walking through the darkness? This morning, I share my heart as someone who has had to answer this really important question. How do you move forward? For much of my life, I don't know if you have heard my story. If you have, you know that I grew up in a cult. I was born into this religious cult in Shawnee, Wisconsin. And what should have been a place of safety became a place of fear. What should have nurtured my faith destroyed it. Control was disguised as love, silence was demanded, and obedience was survival. For years, I endured physical abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, sexual abuse, manipulation, and pretty much just unimaginable trauma. And I learned to disconnect from my voice. I learned to doubt my intuition. I learned to shrink myself just to survive. And perhaps the most devastating thing that this experience taught me was that in order to survive, I had to stop being me. What does that mean? What happens when you have to stop being you? That was a choice to shrink into the box that they put me in. But I also want you to know that was a lie. Survival is not the end of the story. It's actually the beginning. Leaving the cult did not mean that I was free and saved and healed overnight. I carried with me fear. I carried with me shame and hypervigilance and grief that never belonged to me in the first place, but that I had taken on as a trauma identity just to survive. I carried the beliefs that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't safe, that my voice didn't matter. But y'all, healing is not a straight line. It wasn't one breakthrough moment that began my healing journey. It wasn't one prayer. It wasn't one therapy session. Healing actually comes in thousands of tiny little moments and thousands of tiny little choices. The choices to stay, the choices to tell the truth, the choice to ask for help, the choice to stop avoiding the past and start healing from it. The choice to believe that maybe, just maybe, God's heart towards me was gentler than I had been taught. Y'all, that was a big one for me because I believe God was mad at me. I believed that I was going to have to pay for my sins and that hell and brimstone was my future. That's not the God that I serve now. That's not the God that I've come to know now. So somewhere along the way, something remarkable happened. The fire that once consumed me began to refine me. The pain that once isolated me began to connect me to others. The very wounds I wanted to hide, the scars that were so ugly, became the places where compassion grew. That's when I believed and realized our stories don't disqualify us. They equipped us in the kingdom. Let me repeat that. The stories do not, our stories, our testimonies, our truths do not disqualify us. They equipped us in the kingdom. The things we survive often become the very things that allow us to sit beside another human being and say, I see you. I believe you. You are not alone. Y'all, that realization changed everything for me. That's why I became a trauma-informed coach, a speaker, an author. I created spaces where people could bring parts of themselves that they'd hidden away for years. Not because I had all the answers, not because I knew the power, but not because I knew had all the answers, but because I knew the power of being met with understanding instead of judgment. That's how Unbound was born, from that fire. Because I believe that healing was never meant to happen in isolation. Unbound isn't just an event, it's a declaration that trauma may shape part of our stories, but it doesn't have to get the end. It doesn't have to be the end. We get to write our own ending. Unbound is also a declaration that survivors are not broken people needing to be fixed. Y'all are not broken. We are not broken. This is a reminder that we are resilient people learning to reclaim ourselves one choice at a time. Our voices matter. That joy is not something that you must earn. That peace is possible. And that purpose can emerge from even the deepest pain. That's how it's been in my life. I often think about fire. I love fire. I love sitting outside next to a big fire, a bonfire. I love cooking with fire. Fire can destroy, but fire can also purify. It can provide warmth. It can cook your food, and it can light the way. And I believe that every person listening to this morning carries a fire within them. Maybe your fire was born through grief. Maybe it was born through addiction or divorce or betrayal or heartbreak or loss or abuse. It was probably born through surviving things that no one should have ever had to endure. Perhaps you've spent many years trying to hide that fire because it's too painful. I did that for 2 decades at least. It felt too messy, too overwhelming. But what if the very thing you've been trying to bury is the very thing that the world needs you to carry? Not the wound itself, but from the wisdom. Not from the trauma itself, but from your testimony. Not from the suffering itself, but from the hope that emerges because you chose to keep going. Because here's what I know. Someone needs your story. Someone needs my story this morning. Someone needs my courage, needs your courage. Someone needs the version of you that refused to give up. Not because you have it all figured out, but because authenticity creates permission. When one person says, "Me too," shame loses its grip. When one person chooses healing, y'all, it impacts generations. Your bloodline changes. This is why I'm so passionate about what I get to do, is because I know the power of breaking a generational curse. I know what it means to impact generations. And I'm carrying that in my own family, in my own community. And I know that when one person makes that decision to carry their fire forward, others begin to believe that they can do the same. I used to think strength meant never falling apart. Now I know strength looks like honesty, saying I'm not okay when I'm not okay, saying I'm struggling when I'm struggling, saying my heart hurts when my heart hurts. Strength means setting up boundaries. Strength looks like resting. Strength looks like saying, I need support. I've gotten so much better at this. Just ask Michael Faber and some of these Unleash You people. Y'all have heard my truth. Y'all have seen my tears. You've heard me call you and ask for help. Ashley, I see you. Sierra, I see you. Josh, I see you. Christina, Trish, Deb, thank you. Strength looks like returning to yourself again and again after life has tried to convince you to abandon yourself. Carrying the fire forward doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It means refusing to allow the pain to ever have the final word. It means transforming survival into service. That's what I'm doing with Unbound. It means choosing purpose over bitterness. It's compassion over cynicism. It's connection over isolation, hope over despair. And perhaps most importantly, it means recognizing that healing is not selfish. Healing is not selfish, y'all. I have to tell clients this over and over and over because they're like, but my kids, but my husband, but my job, but healing is not selfish. When we heal, We get to parent differently. We get to love our partner better. We get to lead differently. We get to create differently. We get to show up in service differently. Your healing becomes an act of generosity towards those who are in your life and those whose lives you will touch. An act of generosity. Your healing. As I begin to wrap this up, I want to speak directly to that person who is tired, who doesn't know how to take the next step. That person who wonders, how is this all going to work out? And is it worth it? That person who feels like they've been carrying so much for far too long. That person who's still trying to learn how to trust themselves again. Y'all, please hear me. You are not behind. You are not too broken or too damaged. You are not disqualified. You are not defined by the things that happen to you. The fact that you're here, the fact that you're watching a replay, the fact that you're showing up means something. The fact that your heart is still strong and longs for something, that's important. There is still fire within you. And maybe your next step isn't to have all the answers. Maybe it's simply to show up. Maybe it's simply to say yes to support, to share your story with someone, to set a boundary, to attend a retreat or an event, to start therapy, to join a community, to write a book, to launch a dream, to reclaim your voice, whatever it is for you. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move forward while fear rides in the passenger seat. Y'all, I ride with fear every day, chasing this dream of impact for the world. Fear has become my best friend. I live with do it afraid. I got married after knowing a man 6 months. Do it afraid. It's the best thing that I ever did for me, right? He's on with the dream. He's supporting me. We're doing it together. Do it afraid. Let fear ride in the passenger seat. Just don't let it take the wheel. And if my story has taught me anything, it's this, y'all. The human spirit, not just mine, yours, the human spirit is remarkably resilient. What was meant to silence you can become the reason that someone finds their voice. What was meant to isolate you can become the bridge that leads others home. What was meant to break you can become the place from which your greatest purpose emerges. Who would I be without all of the experiences that I've had? Who would I be without the cult, without divorce, without miscarriage, without so many of the heavy things that I've burdened in my 47 years? Who would I be? I wouldn't be me. So as we gather here today under the theme of Carry the Fire Forward, I want to leave you with this invitation. Honor your fire. No one else can carry it like you. Honor the journey. Honor the version of you that survived. But don't stop there. Carry your compassion forward. Carry your wisdom forward. Carry your faith forward. Carry your truth. And carry your light. And ignite that flame in others. Because there are people waiting on the other side of your courage. They're waiting on the other side of my courage and my fear. And the world does not need a smaller version of me or you. It needs the healed, authentic, wholehearted version of me. It needs the one that's willing to take up space, is willing to create containers. That's the one the world needs. It needs the one that was forged through the flames. And after everything that I've walked through, the cult, the trauma, the grief, the shame, the miscarriage, the divorce, all of it, the rebuilding, I can say with certainty, healing is possible. Freedom is possible. Purpose is possible. Love is possible. And y'all, your story is far from over. My story is far from over. May we become people who refuse to let pain make us bitter. May we become people who choose healing again and again. May we become people who create spaces where others feel seen, safe, and valued. And may we become the people who carry the fire forward, not as victims of what happened to us, but as a living reminder of what is possible when courage meets compassion, when truth meets grace, and when brokenness meets love. Thank you for allowing me to share my heart with you once again. Thank you for carrying your fire into this space. I know I'm just heading up the second day of this amazing summit, and I hope to be able to catch many of the speakers later on today, because I know that our stories are powerful, our testimonies are inspiring, and we have a responsibility to carry this fire forward. So thank you for choosing to show up for yourself today. Thank you for choosing to show up for me, even in the midst of hardship or whatever you have going on in your lives, because y'all, we all have busy lives. So thank you for being here. And the fire within you was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to light the way. So go, shine brightly.
Martha Glory Tripp. All right. So Martha, what you don't know, maybe if you haven't caught it yet, is yesterday Christian Martinez talked about how to have influence with people that you don't know and leadership, right? And I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm thinking to myself, like, in a world where we make people influencers and it's toxic and not great, I'm glad that there are people to influence other people in their hearts like you. And so, great talk. Always love to hear you speak. And the world needs more Martha Glory Tripps out there. So, anybody in the chat, oh, we have hands raised already, but of course we do. David, I think I saw yours go up first. So, questions or any flowers you want to give Martha?
Absolutely. You know, I had to be the first one up to throw out the flowers to Martha Cartelli Tripp. I agree with Tish McDaniel. First and foremost, I wanted to show up for Martha. She has the most epic, incredible smiles of all. My still favorite one is the one with the motorcycle helmet. That is the most epic smile of all smiles. Thank you for being the very first speaker of day 2. It's the perfect way to kick off day 2 of Carry the Fire Forward. Martha, you know how much you mean to me as my sister. A couple years ago when I had my knee replacement, I put a message out in the Unleash Now group wanting to connect, get to know people, and you were the very first one. And I think we were on the phone for an hour and a half just laughing as I was laying there with a new knee. And I will never forget that. Thank you always for being amazing, being you, and just being Martha Tripp. And really quick, I got a little surprise for everybody. We are going to have a bonus day coming up tomorrow. Tanya Brown just agreed to come back tomorrow sometime for a 20-minute presentation that she wants to do for everybody. So if everybody wants to tune in, times will be announced later today. So I'll have more details for that. I wanted to share that really quick. But Martha, oh my gosh, Martha. I love you. And I haven't been able to say it except through a message. Congratulations on the marriage. You absolutely deserve it. Your husband is a very lucky man, and I can't wait to meet him. And by that time, I should be able to get back to my epic bear hugs that I've been known for all my life.
Excellent. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate your kind words.
You're welcome. Ash, I don't know who was next.
Tish was next. Tish.
So I wear an Apple Watch, Martha, and I check my BPM regularly. And thanks to you, it's sky high. Because and I put this in the chat, you hit the soul and the heart when you talk, not only with your smile, with the passion and tone in your voice. And you look at you being so happy and so passionate. And yes, people out there reach out to her because her story, and then to see her today, God is so good. And she made a choice. And look at you, and God bless you. And I put in the chat, my husband and I, blind date, married after 4 months, celebrated 32 years. So you and hubby go. Just love you to pieces. God bless you.
So much. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Make me want to cry, but thank you. You know, we have a responsibility, and I'm doing the best that I can with the purpose and passion that I've been given. So thank you.
Deb, you're up.
Oh, hello. As I was looking something up to make a relevant, beautiful point, Martha, hey, baby, how you doing? Gorgeous. Oh my God. I'm so thrilled to see you. Congratulations on the marriage. And take away, all of it was amazing. What I really wanted to say was yesterday, one of the speakers said something that I felt was going to be great on a sampler. Tish knows what I'm talking about when I say a sampler. Everyone else, just look it up. That said, it was Today I Decide. You dropped Let Fear Ride in the Passenger Seat. And last but not least, what I was looking up was kintsugi. I'm quite sure I just mutilated the pronunciation of that. Kintsugi is the Japanese art of broken pottery and mending it together with gold. And I think that really is a nice visual for all of us broken souls who have found our way into David's heart and community here. And I love you so much, girl.
Thank you so much, Deb. That means a lot. I've used that analogy many times about like, I can't say the word either, but the mending of the pieces with the gold, right? Because it becomes a different work of art. It doesn't look the same, but it's enhanced. It's better because of the gold. And I think that each of us, as we're refined through the fire, we become a better version of what was meant. So thank you.
Era.
Martha, Deb just took the line that I was going to use. So I'm just going to say there were so many incredible, like, little drops in there of wisdom. I mean, the whole thing was full of wisdom, but there were so many that just stuck out to me. And I can't wait to go back and watch it again because it was so powerful. And I just felt like consumed by your voice. And I was just like mesmerized the whole time that you were talking. And it's like that, just your voice alone is medicine to people. And it's just so beautiful how you articulate your story, how I could feel your emotions as you were talking, but it wasn't consuming in a way where I was like left heavy. Like I'm leaving that talk knowing everything that you have been through so much lighter. And it was just such a beautiful, you've definitely grown a lot in your speaking since the times I've heard you, and you're just amazing as usual.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. It's great to see you guys, all of you. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for Martha? All right.
I do, but however, I'm sorry to just randomly unmute. My buttons are sticking all over my computer and I think it's very humid out. So I just wanted to tell Martha that the way that she speaks is so authentic, and just the way she conveys her message, like Sierra said, doesn't leave you feeling heavy or feeling bad for you or guilty or feeling any sort of shame. It just really empowers you to keep moving forward but also drawing and bringing attention to things that may have never been relevant to somebody else's life, or we could never have even imagined experiencing anything like that because it seems so far from our lives, and like something you see on TV or something you see in a movie, and you're realizing that people really do experience these cults and they have these traumatic experiences. But also she shows us what it's like on the other side, that there is freedom on the other side and there's not hate, and she doesn't move through her life with this resentment towards anything. She's using that to power herself forward and power others and live in her truth without fear. And I feel so blessed to have met her just very, very recently, but feel like I have known her forever, and she's just pure love. And even if I wanted to resist it, I could never resist it.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you crossed paths into my world too. We're not done. We got still work to do. Lots of work to do. But thank you so much for all the kind words.
I love it. Martha, you know I love you. You know my sister. I've inherited your pop and your other sister, one of many, right? So thank you for pouring into us, and I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks at your event. So for those of you watching, make sure that you are connecting with Martha in the chat. She has her own event coming up in a couple months, and if you liked what she had to say here, you should get her in a room for a couple days with a whole bunch of powerhouse speakers that feed off of each other and good vibes and positivity and love and healing. And yes, David.
I'm so sorry, Ashley.
You're fine.
You're on a roll. Martha, give like a 2-minute spiel on what you're doing with Unbound, because you're a big part of the MBM fam, the Unleash Now fam. Why don't you take 2 to 3 minutes to talk about Unbound, please?
Oh, thank you. Wow. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate that. So Unbound is an in-person healing experience, and it's coming up in August 21st through the 23rd. Y'all, last year was my first year doing this, and we are doing it for the second time this year. And it was so powerful last year, but what's happening this year is God's going, you thought that I worked last year, but what I have planned this year is bigger, better, and bolder. And so not only the lineup of speakers and presenters and workshops and things, but the people that are saying yes for themselves to get in the room and saying, I'm ready to take my next step on my healing journey. Y'all, like, it literally takes my breath away, because this was just a vision 2 years ago. And now God's like, no, but here this is, and this is what you're meant to do. So it's an in-person healing experience. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina. You know, hit me up if you want the details, but y'all, Ashley, if y'all think she's doing an awesome job here, she is emceeing the entire event for those 3 days in August. So join us. Sierra is presenting. So like, y'all, there's so many powerhouses that you are seeing on this stage over these 2 days that are going to be at Unbound as well, sharing their heart, sharing their expertise, and pouring into the Unbound community of people that are willing to start their journey of healing or take their next step on their journey of healing. So I'm really honored that David gave me a second to share this, but it is a passion project. It is a faith, taking a step of faith every time that I do this. But I know that this is my purpose and mission for making an impact in the people that need healing and support. So thank you so much, David.
Awesome. Great. Martha, love you as always, guys. Again, on socials, make sure that you are just flooding the comments with the green and black, also hitting that red heart over and over again to get some engagement for Martha and for David as well. Martha, thanks I always love to hear you. And thanks for being here. Make sure you're checking out when you get time. I know you're a very, very busy lady. Checking out the chat on the socials to engage with the attendees. So, I was moving right along. Gosh, what a way to start the morning. I'm excited for this next speaker. I have not heard this one speak yet, but I have been doing a little stalking on social media and I kind of like what I'm seeing. So I know you guys are going to really enjoy it. This next person is not only a speaker, but a coach and a mentor and has a mindset of you win or you learn. He empowers others to carry that unstoppable thought process into their own lives. So get ready to virtually arm wrestle and meet Mr. Greg Arnold.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I really do appreciate that wonderful intro. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to sequence the inspiration that Martha just gave us here, but I will nonetheless. I'll do my best. Yeah, that's what it's all about. We're all here to ascend. Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Greg Arnold. I am a confidence speaker, a pro arm wrestler, as well as a voice actor, even though that's kind of been on the back burner. And you might, hear these different hats that I've been wearing and assume like, hey, I'm just someone that was just born to, expel an unshakable belief in, myself, right? Well, no, that's definitely far from the truth. I mean, so like my story though has a lot of blessings in there, but that had to be earned through a great deal of struggle, pain, and even profound loss. Because so to kind of set the foundation of it, so I was born with an auditory processing disorder because I was not able to hear properly for the first couple of years. So suffice to say, I missed critical windows of early learning, and so with that, school was indescribably challenging. I mean, academically, socially, and in just many ways. Like I was ostracized by peers, shamed by teachers. They go, "Oh, he's not paying attention." So eh, with that, I had to spend years just molding myself into whoever the room needed me to be at the time in order just for me to adapt and not go to summer school or so on and so forth. And growing up in the 90s, I mean, you already know, like nobody was really talking about what stuff like that does to our mental health. It wasn't widely discussed. So for a long time, even into my adulthood, I genuinely had believed that I was always just going to be that different. I was always something was wrong. Maybe I wasn't that great of a kid. It took so much effort for me to be a good kid or someone that listened. But one of the few places that I began to start to find myself was in the style of karate, Tang Sudo particularly. So I had done it for 5 years from started when I was 10 years old, and 5 years later I earned my black belt doing excuse me, and like at the time I thought like, hey, that's a rank that that very few can say that they've reached. Part of that black belt test was sparring, and I had to spar against a kid that was a grade older, a year older, obviously more skilled. And I was pretty exhausted already. Long story short, he beat me very convincingly. He actually knocked the wind out of me to where like I kind of struggled to breathe. And to his credit, he did great and all. But what I didn't know was that he brought that VHS to show to a few of his classes the following day in school. And suddenly, just what it going in between periods, one of the times there was a hallway of kids that was just berating me, like laughing at me, just saying like, "Oh yeah, he beat you," and I was always like a real quiet kid, so it's not like that I was I was not really anybody's friend. I was just a target of ridicule. So anyway, in one afternoon, a genuine achievement of mine became a source of humiliation. And and at that time, that was a moment that I decided I am not going to put myself on a public platform or a stage again. Nobody even congratulated me. So I thought, like, well, like, just it just gave me the sensation that whatever it is that I achieved was just never going to be enough. Now, switching gears a little bit to the sport of arm wrestling. So my father was a pretty prominent figure in the sport of arm wrestling in the 80s and 90s. He was actually in the Over the Top movie with Sylvester Stallone. So anyway, in 2018, this was right after or actually 2017, he had stage 4 cancer, stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma, and he beat it, of course. Like he is still in remission today, but he decided to make a comeback to the sport so he can stay healthy if, the heavens forbid that he has to fight anything like that again. He is as strong as ever. But he won nationals in 2021 and he placed third in the world. So, definitely a remarkable, inspiring story. And so for years, like even before that, I kind of felt the quiet weight of it, trying to measure up to him. Not because like he ever put it on me, but I don't he always had me on a high pedestal, and I could feel myself just shrinking to avoid uh, uh you know, falling off the pedestal. Like, so I kept trying to, put myself as low of a bar, a rung on a ladder as possible. Like if I didn't aim high, then I wouldn't embarrass myself on a higher stage. So that was kind of my lifestyle for many years. If all that wasn't enough, when I was younger, I was like 15, my mom left my father and myself when I was that age. So she remarried, and several years later, she she died as a result of domestic violence, and that was December 20th, 2008. And I was just going into college, so uh, suffice it to say, I started off by developing a pretty unhealthy habit to try and be validated by others. And it started even before that. I was in a relationship that was verbally abusive. I hurt myself physically because I had emotions that I just never knew how to regulate. And eventually I found out that person, the person I was with, she was seeing someone behind my back. And finally I had just enough little self-respect to say, okay, you know what, that I don't deserve this. Like even I deserve a little bit better than that. Even at my lowest, there was just a little small ember. Like maybe my fire was burned out, but there was a small ember somewhere that said, "You do deserve better." So I did leave. I did leave her. And a few months later, I met my now wife, and 15 years later, she is still by my side, and so and she taught me that self-care is not something that is selfish. It is entirely necessary. It's for yourself and for those around you. The way I see it is the people that are very important in your life, they do deserve you at your best. So I know that everything that I was saying, I was, talking about like a big rainstorm of events, but there is an incline to this, just so you guys know. But what I've come to understand is that it was never that something was wrong with me, but it was just that I lacked the infrastructure, the right environment, and the right people. And once I found those people and the environment, I finally became someone that, more capable of love, including towards myself. It's like any new discipline or new workout that you decide to do. It's definitely not going to be an overnight thing, but you stay consistent, you build the confidence, you become stronger, healthier, and more whole. Now, making long story short here, last year I competed against the #1 ranked arm wrestler in my state. I was going up against the reigning #1 guy, heavy favorite, just got done beating, higher caliber guys than myself. I wasn't confident that I was going to win, but what I did was I stopped measuring myself against, him and just my competition in general. I wanted to be the best version of me, period. Like walking into that room. And so my dad and I, we just like made a regimen and I began PRing, maxing my sets, and I felt good going into it. I tracked it too, and I analyzed the trajectory of my growth. And whether I was going to win or lose, I was going to be proud anyway. So fast forward, match day, I pull off the upset. So we go for the what it is it a super match is what it's called, but it's a best 3 out of 5 matches. He beats me the first 2 matches, so it's like I had a plan A, B, and C. Tried plan C, match 3, I take the win. And then match 4, we go for a long match. I eventually wear him out, and 2-2. Final match, he felt human almost, relative to the first time I gripped up with him. So I pulled off the stunning upset, and just standing there, and that was last year. That's when I finally understood what confidence actually is. It's not a personality trait, not something that you're born with or that you pull out of thin air. It's a muscle. You build it. And when you analyze everything that you do, whether it's in business, whether it's in academics, athletics, track every rep that you do. They all count. And when you analyze it, you're feeding your brain that data. You have the receipts that you put in the amount of work to be at your best. And so through repetition and resistance, you become the best version, and you may surprise yourself. You do. So a few years ago, I would not have had this mindset, but now I do. And now I speak on topics like this to talk about, confidence and how you build, how it's built as opposed to something that it's a trait that you have. So, going back a little bit here, I mentioned that I lost my mom, December 20th, 2008. December 20th, 2024, my daughter came into the world. So whatever it is that, anyone believes about this universe, I think something or someone is communicating with you. Just pay attention to what is within, not the noise out there or the noise in here. I have committed to building and rebuilding myself, not for me, but so that my daughter and my wife never have to struggle with rebuilding from scratch the way that I did. And that's how I intend to carry that fire forward and for many generations to come. So thank you, David, and everyone in MBM for having me here, share my story, and sharing that you all have what it takes to rebuild and to reignite. Thank you.
Greg, we're gonna have to see more of you, friend, because whew, what a great this man, that was just amazing. I'm very, very impressed, and I am so excited I get to tell people that I have met a professional arm wrestler, because that is the coolest thing I think I've heard in a long time. So we're gonna dive into it because everybody's so excited and has hands up already. David, you were the first one again.
Yep. I know my competition here, especially when it comes to Deb. Greg, now I go ahead and unmute yourself, bro. It's all cool, man. Dude, first things and foremost, I used to consider myself the toughest, strongest man in the West. But now I know never to challenge you to an arm wrestle duo because you would kick my ass all the way past the Rocky Mountains. Okay? Secondly, you shared with me when you and I met a couple weeks ago that you were just getting started in the speaking world, the public speaking world. Brother, you crushed it. You've got a talent for this. You've got a skill set for this. Absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark. You are legendary. You're a mountaineer, man. You're going to come back to the summit. I told you when I met you, I remember those who have a heart-centered mission. And everyone here knows that once I see your heart, you can't get away from me. I come back, and I ask you to come back to the mountain. So you crushed it. I am so sorry about your mom and the way you turned that everything around in your life and what you're doing now. Brother, extremely proud of you. I know I just met you, but I know there are a lot of other people who are proud of you as well. I am truly grateful to Michael for introducing me to you, and you'll be back again. I can guarantee that. Back to you, Ash.
Means a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now like that could be a day of, celebration. It's crazy how that how that 180. I really appreciate you having me here.
Of course, brother.
Oh, cool. Deb, you're up next.
Greg. So you don't know me. I don't know you, but hey, baby, how you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing? So a kinship right off the bat. When you mentioned, I believe you said your mom transitioned back in December 2008, correct?
Yes, December 20th.
My mom paved the way October 2008.
Wow.
I don't know why that's significant or not, but there you have it. What is significant is the story that you shared with us, and your wife is very wise, that self-care is not selfish. And in fact, I typed it out earlier for Martha, and it's well known. It's another sampler, Tish. Selfishness is absolutely required for selflessness. You cannot be truly selfless unless you are selfish.
Here.
So there's that. And what else did I have? Oh, I think just the fact that you have a voice like melted caramel.
Well, I
Yeah.
really appreciate you enjoying this audible chocolate. Or you said caramel, sorry.
Hey, it's all good. Caramel covered in chocolate. I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah, Reese's.
And
Well,
Greg
not
met
Reese's.
Deb today. We love us a Deb moment. Tish, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. So very great to meet you. And your voice is very powerful. Keep using it. What you said resonated with me and should have knocked all of us off our stool. You stopped comparing yourself to others. And you started looking at you. It's when you start, and I do a lot because you talked about the confident speaking and all and various things. One of the best exercises is, of course, to record yourself and play it back, and then also as you speak, look at yourself in a mirror. And that is some of the best medicine. And I feel that somewhere along the line, you might have been recording yourself and looking at yourself in the mirror because you are very confident. And thank you for that, because we all needed the reminder. Stop comparing yourself to others. It's almost like mom standing up saying, stop that right now. So God bless you, and just keep on with the speaking. Dave will become your best friend and the harassing friend. Get out there, speak, share that story. And as everyone has said, I'm so sorry for the loss of your mother, and especially the traumatic loss. So God bless you. Prayers for you and your family. Congratulations on your daughter, and get them speaking. Get everyone. It's a family affair.
Indeed. Thank you, Tish. I really do genuinely appreciate it. means a lot. I will continue speaking. This is what I want to do. I want my daughter, my wife to, see me at my best, and I want them to be at their best. I want everybody to be at their best. That's what's going to make the world ascend and elevate, like the summit here.
Well, and I tell folks, you don't have to be a perfect speaker, but you do have a perfect message, and keep sharing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about chase the momentum, chase the moment. Like not perfection. I mean, I used to
Yes.
obsess about chasing perfection. I'm sure I'm not the only one that had
No,
done
we're all
that
right
at,
there with
some
you.
point. So yes, yeah. Thank you for the gems, Tish, Deb, David, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Great. I
Sarah.
do I do have a question for you. Is there anything that you've done a voiceover for that we would know or recognize?
99.9% chance to know. But because the roles that I've done have been all indie video games that you would find on Steam. I've done trying to think of so I've done a game called Black Wind, which is kind of like a space age like beat 'em up kind of thing. I play like a 15-year-old protagonist. I also played uh like a dwarven blacksmith from a game called Infinite Adventures, which is like a little dungeon crawler on the PS4. Let's see what else. Yeah, and I started off by doing hundreds and hundreds of e-learning courses. So yeah, that talked about like programming and so
Well,
on.
listen, Greg, I am raising gamers, okay, a 20 and a 15-year-old. And so if they have heard of any of these games and I say I know the voice, you just gave me like so many brownie points. So thank you for that. My
Yeah,
cool points just been
it's
up.
it's been fun. It's definitely been a fun journey.
And
I
my
love that.
godson, Greg, loves programming, video games, and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to text him and see if he's heard of this game. And so you might have given Uncle Dave some brownie points as well, because he looks at me and goes, "What did you just say?" If I use a movie quote or something. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, James.
So
Yes.
send me that list, Ash,
That's
if
me.
you wrote down those video games for me, okay?
Yep.
So, Greg, seriously, I got to end with this. You crushed it and absolutely agree. And Tish, really quick, I just saw in the chat, Meredith Sobis said, you are crushing it with the one-liners this morning. So, rocking it. And seriously, Greg, you are phenomenal. And oh boy, James just turned off his camera. I think he's going to say something.
Because he's a gamer, so he knows who he
Yeah,
is.
yep, that definitely was yep, that's me. I'm
We
Jimmy.
got time.
I don't know if you recognize the voice particularly, but
Listen, I normally don't interrupt, and I usually sit back while you're. But dude, I was like, I know this. I was like, this dude sounds familiar. I'm like, where do I know this from? Where do I know this from? Where do I know this from? It was bugging me. So thank God somebody said something, and thank
Jimmy
God you put
Hawkins.
a name to the game. Right? No, I used to play that game a lot, and so dude, that's fantastic, man. I just want to say kudos to that, and I love what you were talking about. And I love the fact that you're just very open. And I know I haven't seen you around this circle a lot. So the fact that you were so open and comfortable speaking your story from where you were, where you're sitting, and the outcomes of that, phenomenal, man. I also love that you were, loving on your wife a bit. I do that quite a lot too. I met my wife when I was 15. Fast forward 26 years later, we're married, 2 kids, all that fun stuff. So like, and your setup, dude, I love it. I love it. I immediately was like, you have to be a gamer or you're doing professional voice work, because very few people set up sound acoustics the way that you have it with your like. We can nerd out for hours, but I just wanted to say congratulations.
Thank
And
you so much.
thanks for sharing your story, man.
Thank you, James, and thank you for playing Black Wind.
Let's go.
Yeah, I never expect. I've never really met anybody that's ever played any of my games like outside of my own network. So
Really?
This is definitely profound. Yeah. I mean, like I actually did have a guest appearance for a Comic-Con. It's kind of like a voice acting guest, and I did I don't know what you call those, but it's one of those story-based games. It was called Heart Fragment. I can't remember what it. Anyway, so I had like a banner with some of my characters, and there was one person that, oh wait, I recognize that character. But otherwise, I've never really heard of anybody that has actually engaged in a game like without ever me influencing at all. It's been that's definitely it's surreal. I'm just gonna say that. So thank you.
Oh, well, dude, I'm a fan. I'm a
I
fan.
was gonna say James is over here fangirling over you, Greg.
I'm
Oh,
fangirling.
fanboy. Let's get it right. Let's get it right, Bet. Okay, fanboy. You know, I'll fangirl when he hits. No, I'm just kidding.
Fanboys, fangirls, they're all welcome.
No, definitely.
So cute.
No,
Well,
that's
thank
cool.
you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. I love that for you, Greg. And of course, like excited to see what else you can do and see more in the community for sure. So
Absolutely, it is my it's a privilege to be here, and I can't wait to come back on in another summit.
yes, absolutely.
If
Guys, make
David
sure
will
that you
let
are
me.
showing Greg some love online as well on YouTube, Facebook Live. Make sure you drop in the green and black in the comments for him. Also, if you have any questions for Greg of your own and you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, make sure that you are putting that love in there, giving him his flowers. Greg, make sure you check that out. That is being hosted live on David's Facebook page, so you can go back and kind of interact with the attendees that are watching virtually. Where can we find him? Greg, if you don't mind, will you drop in the chat how
Yep.
we can find you?
Yep.
And then
So
also on socials, if you can do that for them as well.
Yeah.
But I found him on Facebook, so he is on Facebook, you guys, if you are seeking right now in the meantime. We're gonna move right along to the next speaker. Oh, that was you. I thought that was James that put in your IG information. I was like, James, really? All right. That's right. That's perfect. We're gonna move right along to the next speaker. So this speaker I am super excited for. I don't think I've heard her speak before, if I'm being honest. I'm probably gonna botch her last name, even though it's very simple when you look at it. But here's what I know about this lady. I enjoy her on the mastermind calls in which I attend with her. She's very sweet and actually super funny, but she's just like quiet, super golden retriever energy, but she's hilarious, I think, right? I appreciate her just as a human in the industry. And she is a branding marketing specialist. She's a light in the community that she contributes to. And like I said, she's a very, very sweet and kind-hearted woman. And I can't wait for you guys to meet her. And I can't wait to learn from her today. So without any other further ado, please welcome Meredith Sobas.
Pretty good, Sobas. So there you go. Okay. In the early 1900s, photographers used magnesium flash powder to create this burst of chemical light in their photos. They would hold up this small briefcase that looked open on a stick, and a spark from the camera's battery would trail up and ignite the chemicals, causing a small explosion. Eventually, technology evolved and we saw the advent of single-use flash bulbs. These were much safer in comparison. They would have a chemical reaction very similar to the magnesium flash powder, except it was all contained. And the filaments would have that chemical reaction of an explosion. But either way, it often left the subject of the photo stunned. And after each photo, you needed a new bulb. There's a really fascinating concept in our brains called flashbulb memories. They are defined as vivid, long-lasting memories about surprising or shocking events. We see it on a collective level after massive public tragedies. So depending on how old you are, you'll know exactly where you were and what you were doing when 9/11 happened, or JFK's assassination. It happens on a personal level too when we receive really shocking news. And for me, I was sitting on my living room couch. It was the end of July, just a couple weeks after I'd moved home from Mississippi, and my family was visiting me. But I received a text message from one of my sorority sisters. I had sublet her apartment for the first half of the summer. She texted me, "You'll get a call from a 662 area code that you need to answer. It's the Oxford police." So of course, I typed back, Is everything okay? And the response was, Allie's dead. And then my phone rang. Now, everyone processes big news in different ways. For me, my brain immediately chunks up the timeline. What do I need to do now? What must get done tomorrow? And what can wait until later? After answering their questions, there was really nothing for me to do. I was 1,000 miles away from what happened. I was doing freelance graphic design at the time, so I didn't really have a structured workday to return to. And for me, honestly, with big emotions, I almost always think that they can be processed later. But that night, the story broke on the news, and for weeks, it was inescapable. Allie was a year younger than me in school, but she lived in one of the go-to apartments for my friend group off campus. She moved in when one of my sorority sisters moved out. So we went to pre-games together, spent time on random weeknight hangouts together, and that summer we were roommates. About 30 to 45 minutes north of the University of Mississippi's campus, there is a reservoir and a lake called Sardis Lake. And it was the closest thing we all had to a beach. Local students would take their boats out. The woods were a perfect spot to go mudding. If you don't know what that is, get some country in you. It'll be a great time. But it's this big hangout spot when the weather is nice. And it wasn't just popular during the day. Night fishing was super common. And it was also the perfect spot for an intimate date night. You could see 1,000 stars from there. You were miles from the closest town and therefore light pollution. Allie was seeing someone. They had gone down the rabbit hole of on again and off again and never fully committed to the labels of boyfriend and girlfriend. At the beginning of the summer, they were in the off stage, and the night of her death, he invited her to go out to Sardis Lake. In the small hours of the morning, they were sitting at a picnic table talking when he started to shoot her. It was a gun that he had brought back with him from his last trip home to Texas. He got up and walked around the table towards her and continued to shoot. There were 11 shell casings on the ground, and he shot her 9 times. When he was done, he left her there, lying on the ground, and he drove away. The next morning, or later that morning, he was arrested at a gas station in Memphis as a suspect. His vehicle was very easy to spot. It had a vanity plate that read, "Take it." And every detail of what had happened was on display for the world to see. At first, it was just on local news stations from Memphis, Tennessee, down to Jackson, Mississippi. Then the national news outlets started to pick up the story. CBS, ABC. I woke up to seeing her best friends being interviewed, her parents desperately trying to avoid the spotlight, and another one of our roommates on the Today Show. A friend of mine was working in the district attorney's office, and he was texting me updates about the case. All of her text messages were leaked, photos from the investigation. He was just trying to help me make sense of it all. People I did not know well were reaching out, more so for details and gossip than care and support, so I blocked it all out. For weeks, my phone sat on my dresser on mute. At the time, I still had a landline, and about 5 people in the world had the number, plus all the spam callers on the planet. But in case they needed to get a hold of me, there was one way. But my life completely paused. All of the boxes I moved home with were stacked inside of my den. I couldn't go through them. I didn't know where I was going next. I stopped sleeping. Laying down at night, my brain just replayed everything. And I kept seeing her mom's face. She was there the weekend that I moved out. She was helping Allie decorate the apartment in this coastal beach theme with lots of flowers. It was very Allie. I was so sleep deprived that my body would just shut down during random times to force me to sleep. I would fall asleep sitting straight up at the kitchen table after I cooked myself a meal. I'd fall asleep here at my desk in the middle of a project. Finally, I went to the doctor and they prescribed me Ambien. It's one of the most popular medications for sleep issues. And one of the biggest side effects of that medication is actually nightmares. So I was living a nightmare. I avoided sleep at night because of nightmares. And now I was on a medication that required me to witness it all again. Except at that point, I was so sedated that I couldn't wake myself back up from them. There was a complete lack of control over my body. Ambien is typically only prescribed as a short-term solution. And because of my reaction, the next idea was to tire myself out so much during the day so that at night, the only possible thing that could happen was that my body would sleep. So for months, I stayed home and spent the entire day doing yard work. It was literally all I could manage. I had already stopped talking to everyone. I took on next to 0 clients at work. Thankfully, before I moved home, there was this big transition in my house, so there was a lot to do. I pulled weeds in my garden until my arms are so sore that they would shake. I picked up sticks in the backyard one by one, up and down and up and down, until my core muscles cramped so hard I couldn't stand up straight. Every day, cutting the grass, trimming back bushes, there was always something to do. 6 months after she was murdered, the world shut down. And when that happened, the only feeling I felt was relief. The shutdown gave me so many excuses for harmful behaviors, but the biggest excuse that I was given was that to be a recluse. And on the 1-year anniversary of her death, I went out for the first time. We were in a COVID bubble, so it felt safe enough. I went to a bar and got absolutely hammered by myself because I didn't have friends anymore. And that was a choice that I had made slowly. Just one unanswered text, ignored call, everything at a time. But that night, something kind of changed. For the first time in over a year, I actually wanted a friend, not a group, not a party, just one person that I could check in with. Someone who at least knew where I was. And I had no idea where to start. But I did figure out in all of my drunk wisdom that evening is I didn't run out of time or money. I had run out of the willingness to be inconvenienced. So we talk about budgets all the time budgets, money budgets, but no one really talks about their inconvenience budget. How much are you willing to let someone need you? How much are you willing to let yourself need someone else? For a year, I made myself and my life easy. I had no obligations. There was no one around to disappoint. There were no plans to cancel. And I was unbearably lonely. And I couldn't just jump into having friends again. I had to build up a tolerance to the things that I was avoiding because they simply didn't feel easy anymore. And I started by not going to bed with dirty dishes in the sink. At the end of every day, could I handle 3 minutes to do something I found so tedious and annoying? Turns out the answer is yes. So then I upped the stakes. Laundry was no longer allowed to sit in the washing machine for longer than an hour in my house. It had to be flipped. Another small inconvenience if I was in the middle of doing other things. And then I had to fold it. And I'm not a perfect person, so I'm still working on the putting it away part. But next, I had to dip my toe back into the society pool. And what a monumentous occasion it felt like to unmute my phone. And then to start keeping it near me. And in the beginning, the most I could manage were those tap back responses, the thumbs up, thumbs down, heart, or emphasis. But it was a step in the right direction. Then I started joining groups to meet new people, women's groups, volunteering, church groups, friends from work, and more. Eleanor Roosevelt has a quote that I think everyone knows that's basically like, do one thing every day that scares you. And I'd like to remix it a little bit. Start by doing one thing every day that inconveniences you. And you can start small, like I did with dirty dishes in the sink. Because being scared fades. Or it doesn't, and that's a huge red flag that should tell you not to do something. But building up a tolerance for things that don't sit on the list of things you love to do, that is where the strongest communities are built. Prioritizing others often comes at a personal sacrifice to our own schedule and comfort. So when I tell people you matter to me more than my excuse not to show up. My friends challenge my status quo in the best way possible. They are never burdening me with their problems. They are broadening my level of thinking. 100 out of 100 times, I will sit and hear you have the same conversation with me. So ask the favors. Impose on people's schedules. Invite yourself over. I am still working through it all. There are still stretches where I go invisible because it's so easy to do so. But I do know that I never want to feel again like I did feel in the bar that night. So find your friends.
One moment.
I'll take it. I'll take this, Ash.
I would love that moment, so thank you.
Meredith, your storytelling is profoundly beautiful. It has such depth, and I already know that you're well spoken just from the mastermind stuff, but yeah, I felt every piece of that with you as you shared it, and it was just yeah, your storytelling is next level, and thank you for sharing that, because I know that couldn't have been easy, and thank you for your strength. David, your turn.
Meredith Sobis. You know, over the last year, I've had the privilege of getting to know you. I got to spend a week with the fam in the blue and green on a cruise ship last year. Wow. That was incredibly powerful. I get to learn more about you, and thank you for showing your heart today, showing your soul. You know, if you didn't share that today, I would not have known you went through that. Because you have an incredible, beautiful smile, as a lot of people tell you. You're the queen of jokes, and you're very good at it. You dressed up as Michael Faber last year on the cruise. and you do the perfect impersonation of him walking by on the cruise going with a scotch glass going, sup? But I love the fact that we got to see this part of you, but I'm still incredibly sorry you went through that.
Thank you.
Thank you for trusting me and the mountain to share that piece of you. I don't take that lightly. Back to you, Ash.
Sierra.
Meredith, I'm not going to say this is a competition or anything. Sorry if you have kids in the background. But I think you had hands down the most impactful and most powerful speech of this entire summit. No shade to anybody that's speaking later today. No shade to anybody that spoke yesterday, including myself. The vulnerability and emotions in your storytelling. I don't think I could call you baby Meredith anymore because you're a grown-ass woman, and that was so powerful. And that was just to see this side of you. You can always inconvenience me because I adore you. Nice
Like, and I'll always be baby Mare. Thank you.
I cannot call you that.
Beautiful. Deb.
Miss Meredith, hi.
You again.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that very, very difficult story. And thank you for sharing Allie with us. And I love your inconvenience budget, and I'm morphing it a little bit. I'm going to steal a little bit, and I'm going to call it my emotional budget. And you have nothing but friends here. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
James.
Well, first off, good morning and hello, Meredith. How are you? Other than
Lovely. Thank you.
lovely. I normally like sit and break things down and like go through things in my head, and I usually I have like a lot, or my brain will prepare something very cool for the people that really like show up and like pour in and pour out. And the only thing I really want to say for you that I feel compelled to is that I just want to say thank you for being you. I've known you a few years. Our interactions have been intermittent, but every time we have an interaction, it is a photographic memory, which I find very funny in your explanations in the beginning. I vividly remember when we were sitting in the virtual mastermind, you just looked up at me and you were like, when are you going to start marketing yourself? And I'm like, wait. And you're like, no, like really, like you could do some really cool, interesting concepts for hype videos. And you just started going into your area of brilliance. And your one-liners are so incredible when you decide to zing them out. And just everything about you is deliberately intentional, and it's not by accident or chance. And I see a lot of why now. You're fascinating in the best way possible, and you are a very, very, very big deal when you show up. So thank you for showing up.
Thank you. Now you're gonna make me cry happy tears.
Thanks, James. Anybody else for Meredith?
So I'm going to jump in here again, Ash. We're going to take a little bit of a break after what I'm going to do here. Our next speaker was ill over the evening, and so unfortunately they can't make their spot. James, turn your screen back on for me, bro. There is a family tradition, and I've done this for my grandparents and for my brother. So for those who are in the Zoom room right now, turn on your videos if you can. Yesterday we talked about receiving the flame of our loved ones that we lost. We just heard something incredibly, deeply personal to Meredith, Allie, someone extremely close to her, Ashley's grandmother, Sierra's daughter, Tish's brother, my brother. Every flame that we carry was lit by them. And their love is what lives within us. But before them, there was somebody that loved us, even before we were born. And when my grandfather passed, my grandmother, Clyde Wilhite, there was a song that I would sing a cappella. And for those who have lost somebody, this song is going to be dedicated to those who have passed on. It's called How Deep the Father's Love for Us. And as we listen to me sing this song, I want you guys to close your eyes and think of the ones that we have lost. And yes, we are still here on earth, but I want you to reflect on where they're at. See the candle burning bright? And after we're done, we'll take about a 20-minute break and we'll come back. So this song is dedicated to Allie, to Ashley's grandma, to Sierra's daughter, to Tish's brother, and to all the ones that we have lost. So if you would please close your eyes. How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond all measure, that he should give his only Son to make a wretch his treasure. How great the pain of searing loss, the Father turns his face away, as wounds which mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man upon the cross, my sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held him there until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished. I will not boast in anything, no gifts, no power, no wisdom, but I will boast in Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection. Why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer, but this I know with all my heart. His wounds have paid my ransom. Why should I gain from his reward. I cannot give an answer, but this I know with all my heart. His wounds have paid my ransom. Take a minute. Reflect on your loved ones. Facebook land, Zoom land, YouTube land. We'll be back in 30 minutes. And we will continue the climb to the summit. And remember, our loved ones are in a place where they're not hurting and are smiling down on us. We'll be back.